Stop for a second and think about the word debt. What do you feel? For most of us, it's a visceral reaction. It's a tightening in the chest. It's the red numbers on a bank statement, the crushing weight of student loans, or the anxiety of a credit card bill that never seems to go down. We are trained from the moment we get our first allowance that debt is the enemy. We are told that financial freedom means having zero debt, paying off the mortgage, and cutting up the credit cards. It feels safe. It feels responsible. And if you are playing the game of survival, that advice is absolutely correct. But here is the uncomfortable truth that might keep you up tonight. While you are tirelessly working to pay off every cent you owe, the wealthiest people on the planet are doing the exact opposite. They are racking up debt on purpose, massive amounts of it. And they aren't doing it because they are reckless or broke. They are doing it because they know a secret rule of the financial system that you don't. They know that in the modern economy, debt isn't a shackle, it's a time machine. It allows them to pull future wealth into the present day, use it to buy assets that pay them while they sleep. And here is the kicker. They use that debt to legally opt out of paying taxes. While you are saving pennies, they are printing millions using the very thing you fear most. To the average person, debt is a hole you dig. To the rich, debt is a ladder. And today, we are going to climb it to see what the view looks like from the top. To understand this, we have to destroy a fundamental belief you have about money. You likely believe that money is a store of value. You work hard, you get paid, you put it in the bank, and it stays there, safe and sound. But that hasn't been true since 1971. In our current system, money is actually a melting ice cube. Every year, inflation takes a bite out of your savings. If you have $10,000 sitting in a savings account, you aren't saving. You are slowly losing purchasing power. The rich understand that cash is actually the worst asset to hold. It's a liability. So, they get rid of it. They trade their cash for things that actually hold value: real estate, stocks, businesses, gold. But here is where the magic trick happens. Let's say you buy a house for $500,000. 10 years pass, and now it's worth $1 million. You are richer on paper, but you can't buy groceries with your house. To access that money, the average person thinks they have to sell the house. But if you sell, two terrible things happen. First, you lose the asset. You don't own the house anymore. Second, the taxman shows up and demands a massive cut of your profit. Selling is expensive. Selling triggers taxes. The wealthy have a mantra: buy, borrow, die. Instead of selling that $1 million house, they walk into a bank and say, "I have this asset worth $1 million. Lend me cash against it." The bank is happy to do it because the loan is secured by the house. The bank gives them a few $100,000 in cold, hard cash. Now, pay attention, because this is the loophole that fuels empires. That cash the bank just gave them, it is not income. You do not pay income tax on a loan. It is tax-free liquidity. They get to spend the money. They get to keep the house. And the house continues to go up in value. Look at the scoreboard, because this is where the game is rigged. On the left side, you have someone like Alex. Alex does everything right. He earns a high salary, grinds 80 hours a week, and chases promotions. But the moment his paycheck lands, the IRS takes 40%. He's running up an escalator that is moving down. On the right side, you have Ben. Ben doesn't have a salary. He has assets. He borrows against them at 4% interest, buys more assets that yield 8%, and pays zero tax. Why? Because debt isn't income. Alex is working for money. Ben has turned money into his employee. It feels illegal. It feels like cheating. But in a system built on debt, the borrower is the boss, and the saver is the servant. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what about the interest? Don't they have to pay the bank back? Yes, but here is the second twist that nobody mentions. Inflation is actually the debtor's best friend. If you borrow $1 million today, that feels like a lot of money. But in 10 or 20 years, thanks to inflation, $1 million will be worth significantly less in terms of purchasing power. The number stays the same, but the pain of paying it back decreases every single year. The bank is lending you valuable dollars today, and you get to pay them back with cheaper, inflated dollars tomorrow. You are effectively shorting the currency. This is why the biggest companies in the world, like Apple, sit on piles of cash, but still borrow billions. It's cheaper for them to borrow money than to bring their own overseas cash back home and pay taxes on it. It's a game of arbitrage. It's finding the gap between the cost of debt and the return on investment. But before you call your bank, listen closely, because this is where people go broke. Leverage is a loaded gun. There is a massive difference between good debt and bad debt, and confusing the two is fatal. Bad debt is borrowing to buy liabilities, a car, a vacation, or a lifestyle you can't afford. That is financial suicide. It drains your future to pay for your past. Good debt is different. Good debt is when the asset pays for the loan. But remember, the bank doesn't care if you win or lose, as long as they hold the collateral. If you over-leverage and the market turns, the gun points back at you. If you don't respect the math will bury you. The realization hits you when you stop looking at money as something to hoard and start seeing it as a tool to facilitate flow. The banking system is designed to reward flow. Banks do not want money sitting in a vault. They make money when money moves. When you participate in that movement by taking on smart, calculated debt to buy productive assets, the system aligns with you. You stop swimming upstream against inflation and taxes, and you start flowing with the current. We live in a financial casino where the house usually wins, but the house wins because the players don't know the rules. Most people hoard their chips while the value drops. They fear the dealer while the pros partner with him. You can keep playing the game the old way, safe and slow, watching your savings melt away in silence. Or you can look at the table, realize how the game is actually rigged, and start playing like the house. The rules are right there in front of you, hidden in plain sight. The question isn't whether the system is fair. The question is, are you going to be the player or the prize? Summary: the wealthy do not hoard cash. They use strategic debt to acquire tax-free liquidity and assets that outpace inflation, turning the banking system from a master into a servant.